content marketing gets all the credit for where my business is today. It put me on the map. It let me pick who I wanted to work with as clients and charge a lot more for that too. So in this video, I'm going to show you how you can do the exact same thing in your business, build your influence, and attract way more clients than you can probably even ever work with. Which is a great problem to have because that's when you know that you can actually finally raise your prices. But I'm getting ahead of myself here. Let's talk about what content marketing means and the 4 steps you need to take to get all the benefits that content marketing can bring to your business. And if you stick around till the end, I'm even going to show you how you can put your content marketing on hyperdrive and reach 10 times as many people without a lot of extra effort. So what even is content marketing exactly? So while traditional marketing is basically just advertising, where you talk about your business and your offers and why people should choose to work with you or buy from you, content marketing flips the script on that and just aims to educate and show what's possible. And in doing that, people are going to come to think of you as the expert that they want to work with. Is it a bit of a slower process this way? Sure, but it's a hell of a lot more efficient too. And the reason for that is because the way people make buying decisions has changed a lot over the past 20 or so years. Now that they've got the internet, most of your best clients are going to put in the research. They know their options, and only the most trusted businesses are going to survive. And that's where content comes into play. So content marketing is 62% less expensive than other marketing methods out there, and it's generally responsible for 3 times as many leads. The content that you produce as a business is what's going to bridge the gap between those cold audiences over here who are finding that content for the first time, they've never heard of you before, and your warmer audiences over here, and finally, your paying clients and customers over here. So when you provide good quality information that helps them either make a decision or get a quick win on their own, or even something that just inspires them to see what's possible, that's going to build trust, and trust sells way more efficiently and successfully than selling does. And here's the thing, most of your competition won't do any of this for a few reasons. First of all, it's not easy. Being totally honest with you, this is a commitment and it's not going to pay off overnight. But I'm not lying when I say it's the single best thing you can do as a business in 2022. And it's only going to become more important in the future. Another reason they won't do it is because it's a shift that many business owners just never get comfortable with, basically switching over from a salesperson to a teacher or, guide or mentor figure. So many business owners have a really hard time with this because they think if they give away too much free knowledge, they're basically, cannibalizing their own business. But I've found in my own content marketing journey that actually it's the opposite. So once I started talking about website optimization and digital marketing strategies right here on YouTube, demand for my services blew up because here's the thing. A lot of people are going to start by looking for information or a DIY solution to their problems, but once they find you and you're talking to them and they start trusting your advice and they see that you know your stuff, they're going to be more than happy to just hand it off to you and pay you to do it for them. And sure, there's always going to be those people who will never turn into customers, but guess what? Those were never your customers anyway. They were never going to buy from you anyway, so just give them the free information. Who cares? At least you get your name out there, right? So now let's get into the 4 main parts of content marketing so that you can start to form your strategy to grow your business through all that amazing content. So first of all, you need to decide on the overall content format that makes the most sense for your business and for your potential customers. So what I don't recommend doing here is, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, because that is a recipe for getting overwhelmed. And there are a bunch of content types that you could choose, but I'm going to break it down into the big 3, which are blog articles, podcasts, and videos. And I want to give you a bit of a rundown of the pros and cons of each so that you can make an easier decision which one you want to go with. So let's start with blog articles. This is probably going to be the easiest type of content produced because there's just not a lot of production involved. Not to mention, you can get multiple team members involved in it, and you can even outsource some of the writing if you ever wanted to go that route. And since it's written text on a page, you can probably get some good search engine traffic out of it if you do your keyword research right, which can lead to a lot of new eyeballs over time without a ton of extra effort. But the downside of focusing on written content is it's just way less likely that you're ever going to build that, what I call the I feel like I know you factor with your audience than if you were producing weekly podcast episodes or YouTube videos. So let's talk a bit about podcasting. This ups the difficulty level a bit just because there's definitely more production involved, right? You still need to outline or possibly even script out what you'll say. Then you need to record. Then you need to edit that into a tight episode. But the benefits of people getting to hear your voice and get a sense of the personality behind the brand, that's priceless. And the thing that I like about podcasts especially is that you can go longer and be even more human than you could in a video because, let's face it, people are generally more willing to put up with those tangents and the detours into all the more personal aspects of your business because they're multitasking when they're listening. I bet if you listen to podcasts, you're not just sitting in a chair listening at attention, right? You're driving, you're walking the dog, you're working out, or you're cleaning the house. But with video, you're expected to get more to the point because people are more actively watching. And video is even harder to produce than a podcast because now you're dealing with visuals as well as audio. But again, the benefits of video are huge. So whether you're doing a podcast or a video series on YouTube, people will watch or listen to a few. Then they're gonna feel as if they know you at least a little bit. You become a little bit famous or at least very familiar to the people that you want to work with. And when it comes to closing deals and charging more for your services, makes a big difference. And you'll notice I'm not really talking about social media in my big 3 content marketing types. And that's because we'll address social media a little later in this video. It definitely plays its role in content marketing, but I highly recommend thinking about your content in a more long-form way that can really live on your website in one way or another. And of course, there are exceptions, like you could go all in on video and maybe TikTok is where you want to do that. But for most of you, you should be thinking about either written articles, podcasts, or videos. So you probably already have an idea which is most appealing or realistic for you in your business. Just pick one that you think you'll actually stick with. And that's going to become very important in step 2, coming up with your content plan. And the first part of this step is really figuring out a schedule that you can stick to consistently. So when you start to think of content marketing as something that you're just going to chip away at whenever you have the spare time for it, it never really gets done. I speak from experience here. So I'll give you a few tips that I stick to that have really helped me out a lot. So first of all, I like the idea of weekly content. So whether you've decided on writing or recording podcasts or making videos, I really recommend doing one each and every week. I think more than that can get unwieldy and hard to stick to long term. And I think less than that makes it really hard for you to become, sticky in the minds of your prospects. But that's just my perfect world scenario. So if you know all you can commit to is once every 2 weeks or even once a month, that'll still be valuable. It just may take a bit longer to get to the results you want. Any less than once a month, I think is going to make it very hard for you to get any traction, at least when you're starting out. So decide on your frequency. And my other big tip for you here is to batch produce 4 to 6 content pieces at a time. Because I'll tell you, when I first started this channel, I was doing 2 videos a week and I was doing them one at a time, meaning I'd have to set up my camera and my lights, clean up my desk in the background here, and then edit them and upload them. And then once I'm done, start the whole process over again. And switching gears like that between setup, recording, editing, writing, uploading, every time I switched what I was doing, it takes some, mental bandwidth to get into the groove of the new task, which just killed my productivity. So now I actually make 2 months worth of these videos at a time, which is why I tend to wear the same shirt in a lot of them. I don't know if you noticed that, but a little peek behind the curtain for you. And yeah, 8 videos is a lot at once. It's a little bit aggressive. I don't necessarily think you have to do 8 at once, but it really helps me to just take a few weeks to make a few months worth of content as opposed to, taking like 3 days every week to do the one-offs. And the next bit of planning that goes into step 2 is to brainstorm a content plan. So in other words, what specific topics are you going to cover in your first batch of content? And what I generally recommend is to create content meant for all 3 stages of your sales funnel. So we have top of funnel, middle funnel, and bottom of funnel. And I'm going to talk about each one of those for a minute so you get it. So for the top of funnel content, that's meant to be found by new people who are finding you for the first time. So this is generally where your instructional, your how-to tutorials, even inspirational, here's what's possible type of content lives. So as an example, this video you're watching right now would be considered a top of funnel video for me. Or if you're an accountant, it might be an article about all the deductions that you can take as a business owner. You get the idea. It's instructional, how-to type stuff. Then for that middle of the funnel, you want to create content that's more geared to helping them make a decision. So this can be comparing 2 options or even a review of a product or service in your niche. For instance, I have a video where I tried buying a $100 website design on Fiverr to help people just see if that's going to be a viable option. It actually worked out better than I thought, by the way. And for bottom of the funnel, these are videos or content that's meant to actually drive them toward taking that next step with you. So this might or might not have a teaching component, but they can also be things like testimonials or case studies. Whatever the meat of the content is, you're ending with a really clear call to action to buy something or schedule a consult or an appointment with you. So having all 3 types of content is key to having the right content marketing mix that's gonna bring people all the way down through your sales funnel. But if you're just starting out, I actually recommend making your first batch, maybe even your first couple batches, completely focused on that top of funnel, right? The educational, inspirational content like that. So the reason is you wanna be able to hook people in with your expertise before you start selling anything to them. But then once you get up and running, I generally recommend to split something like, 3 top of funnels, 1 or 2 middle funnels, and then 1 bottom of funnel. So take a look at what topics are resonating well within your niche and look at a mix of sources, right? Everything from blogs to YouTube, podcast episodes, and draw your ideas from all of it, no matter which platform that you're planning on using. Start a spreadsheet of topic ideas and then just split them into the top, mid, and bottom funnel. Okay, so once you've got your content underway, now it's time for step 3, promoting your content. It's not always enough to just create it, especially at first. You need to get the word out for it to be found and for it to work. Now this is going to fall into 3 main categories: SEO, social media, and email. So let's talk SEO first. This is probably the first thing you're going to want to focus on when you're promoting your content. So you're actually going to take a step back. You're going to be thinking about that while you're deciding what topics to talk about in the first place. Whether you're writing articles or recording podcasts or making videos, search engines are going to be key to serving it up to the right people at the right time. The search engine is going to be different in each case, but the core concepts are the same. So if you're writing articles to put on your blog, you're going to want to focus on, Google ranking fundamentals, right? Find your keywords that people are searching for that aren't too competitive, and you're going to want to use them the right way in your writing. And you might even need to build some backlinks to your posts. But if you're making videos, YouTube is the search engine that you need to master. It's mostly the same in terms of finding the keywords and competition levels, and then you still want to use those keywords in your titles and descriptions. But with YouTube, you also need to consider watch time as a really important, video SEO metric. Basically, the longer you can keep people watching your videos, the more YouTube's going to start to favor them and show them higher and higher in the search results and as those suggested up next videos. And for podcasts, you still want to do your best to find the keywords that you think people are going to use to find your show. You want to use that in both the name of your podcast as a whole, as well as for individual episodes too. Now, honestly, searching within a podcast app like Apple Podcasts isn't great, but you still can do things like using your keywords in all the right places, including, again, in the titles, in your descriptions for every episode. And with podcasts, getting as many downloads and ratings and reviews is what's going to help you the most here. And that's where you might want to use these next two promotion methods to get some of that going. So let's talk about our next promotion method, social media. So it's super easy to just create a post about every piece of content you put out and then put that on each of your social channels. The only problem is you're only going to be reaching your followers and not very many of them at that. So most platforms like Facebook and Instagram, or I guess they're calling themselves Meta these days. I'm still not quite sure about that. Whatever they're calling themselves, they don't show your organic posts to many of your followers. So for that reason, you might want to set aside a small budget to reach more of your followers as well as new cold audiences through ads. Another social media adjacent, I guess, method is to create pins on Pinterest for each of your pieces of content. And since Pinterest is really more of a search engine than a social media platform, any one of your pins can be seen by people other than your followers when they're searching. But having done this myself, me and my team gave it a really good shot, but we never saw a whole lot of success on Pinterest, if I'm being honest. I think it really depends on your niche and if people are actually searching for topics like yours on Pinterest. And just like with Facebook and Instagram, you can pay to promote your content on Pinterest too through what they call promoted pins. So I'm gonna throw out some general advice here, right? If you're gonna be doing videos, no amount of outside promotion is ever gonna be as beneficial to you as YouTube recommending your content, at least in the long term. So do your research with a tool like vidIQ or TubeBuddy to find the topics that you should be focusing on and just make your content really good. Watch time is gold on YouTube, so the longer you can keep people watching, the more they're gonna show your videos to more newer audiences. So that's my video general blanket statement. If you're doing a podcast, you're gonna need to do more outside promotion than on any other type of content. Unfortunately, podcast platforms like Apple and Spotify just don't do a great job at surfacing new stuff for people. But once you start building that audience, it's totally worth the effort. Now let's talk email promotion. So if you can pair your email marketing with your content marketing, that's how you build your business into an empire. If you have an email list and it's constantly growing, awesome, right? You're gonna wanna email your list every week, letting them know about your new content. You're gonna link to it and let them know why it's important. That's how email marketing works, right? You give value 3 out of 4 times, then that 4th email, you ask for something like more of a direct sale. So if you don't have that list, however, I can't stress enough how important it is that you get started. And I do have a video, it's a complete guide to email marketing and list building that I'm gonna leave down in the description below. Okay, so now what you've been waiting for, the step that's gonna make all this effort you've been putting in actually profitable for your business. So step 4 is monetizing your content. The trick to content marketing is to constantly be putting real value into your content while making your readers or your viewers or your listeners see your value at the same time. And it's really easy to get caught up in the trap of, give. Then when you turn around and ask for a sale, people get confused and they might get a little angry because they just thought of you as a teacher this whole time. But there are a few smart ways of getting around this. So first of all, in almost all your content you ever put out, you want to drop casual mentions that you know so much about this because you do this for a living, right? You do this for clients, you do this for customers, and you get paid to do it. So tell stories about how you helped a client get a result through the method you're talking about, or just make real casual mentions like, when I work with clients on this, ... That's gonna prime people to think of you as a working expert in your field that they could potentially hire themselves for you to help them. And you should be doing this no matter what kind of content you're making. But now let's get a little more specific about how you can monetize the different types of content, starting with written articles. So what I like to do here is simply end each and every article with a standard call to action to take that next step with you. So this can be just a templated section block that you add to your blog post template, so it's just always there at the end of all of them. Or you can integrate it into the text of your article if you'd rather make it more tailored to what that specific subject is. You can also simply link to your service pages where it makes sense within the body of your article. So For example, if your article is all about how to crate train a puppy, and then you happen to offer puppy training as a service, you'd probably want to take the text new puppy training and then link to that service page where you lay out all the details of your paid puppy training service. And love them or hate them, you can also add in an exit intent pop-up to your blog posts where whenever the browser detects that they're mousing back toward the back button, you hit them up with your paid offer. Some people do find these annoying, but they do work. And hey, they were about to leave anyway, so why not just come out and ask for the sale at that point? Nothing to lose, right? Okay, so what about monetizing a podcast? This one's actually pretty easy. You just drop in the line, "This episode is brought to you by," and then you lay out exactly what you offer and why they'd want it. So you want to end that spot with a clear call to action, sending them to a specific landing page that's on your website where they can get more details and either purchase or hop on a call with you. Now, I do recommend putting out your first 10 episodes completely ad-free. So that just gets people to really binge your content and get to know you as an expert before you ever ask for anything in return. Then after those 10 episodes, you want to play around with, putting your ad read toward the beginning in some episodes, or maybe sometimes right in the middle of your content, and then sometimes at the end. I do like to mix it up so that it's not super predictable where it's going to show up in any given episode. All right, now for monetizing your video content. So you can definitely push people back to your website to buy from you. But if you're really trying to build your following on YouTube, there's a trick to getting this right. So like I said, watch time is the key metric when it comes to YouTube, deciding to push you out to more new people. So in 3 out of 4 videos, I don't want you to send people anywhere except to watch another one of your videos. This is going to keep your watch time high, and you're much better off building a much bigger audience that you then get to push back to your website sometimes. And that other 1 out of 4 videos, that's where you're going to do it. So the first 3, you're going to say, hey, if you liked this, try this other video. That's where you need to go next. Then on the 4th video, you say something like, and if you need even more help, I'd love to talk to you. Just go right here and schedule your free consultation, or whatever it is you want them to do. And I did promise you a way to put all of this on hyperdrive and actually reach way more people with not a lot of extra effort. And that has everything to do with repurposing your content in a really smart way. So this is going to let you create your content once on your core platform of choice and then extend your reach through other platforms, helping you get as much out of that content as possible. And I have a whole video that's going to show you exactly how easy and repeatable it actually is. So click right here, and I'm going to show you all of my repurposing secrets. This works with whatever content type you decide on, so click right here, and I'm going to share it all with you.